Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me for a follow-up video of sorts. My last episode here was on an amazing contest win package that I got from Dan at Old Sarge Collects. Contained some fantastic like 1800s cards and just other amazing stuff. And I wanted to do a follow-up to that. And then I had an idea. So Dan, for those who don't know, or in case you didn't see that episode, Dan hails from the Louisiana area. And he introduced me to a term that I hadn't heard before recently, and that's Lagniappe. And basically, that's a term that they use locally down there that refers to like a little bit of extra, or like a baker's dozen, as Dan referred to it as. And so for that baker's dozen reference, brought out my Muffin Man card here from Players Cigarettes, because who wouldn't want a Muffin Man card? And that just seems like an appropriate card for a backdrop of this video. So I wanted to do a little bit of follow-up on the cards, a couple of the cards that Dan sent in that package, because I didn't know all about them at the time and wanted to do a little research. And so I came up with an idea. I'm going to give you some extras here related to Dan, both the prize package and a few other cards that I've never shown, great cards that I'm going to show off here on the channel that somehow remind me of Dan. And we're going to call this Dan-iappe Cards. So bear with me. So let's start off here talking about this card quickly. This is one that Dan included in the prize package, and I found out looking this up afterwards, this is from the 1940s, which is awesome. Didn't know what it was at the time, and it turns out it's from a 1949 set called Famous People and Places, and I learned that there are different variations of these that say any combination of Wheaties, Vita-Brits, and Crispies, or Vita-Brites, I'm not sure how you say that. Some have all three, like this one, and some have a combination of two of the others. But really cool and a fun, pretty old George Washington card, coming up on 75 years old now. So I wanted to do a little bit of follow-up on that one. And then this one as well, when I pulled it, there was a couple of questions I had about this card. I wasn't sure if the RI stood for Rhode Island, my home state, and I confirmed afterwards with Dan that it does. And the other thing that I learned about this that I didn't know in the video, this card is from 1888. So that's just amazing. It's known as the Kinney N224, I think Dan said it was, release, which is military cards like this from 1888. So a 135-year-old card that pays tribute to my home state of Rhode Island. Simply amazing. Now, Dan has taught me, and as I shared with you, that Lagniappe refers to something a little bit extra or outside the norms. So the next card that I'm going to show, it does classify as Lagniappe on my channel, but it would not classify as Lagniappe on Dan's channel because it's a set that he collects specifically. So check this out from the Diamond Stars release in 1935, the Earl Averill card. Believe he's a Hall of Famer, and just some really fascinating artwork on this one. Dan has been breaking down this entire set on his channel in 4 card segments, and I've been enjoying that immensely, learning more about these and gaining a new appreciation for these cards. I always like them to a degree, thus this card here that I've had for a long time. You can tell by the flip. I think I got this on daveandadamscardworld.com, believe it or not. Very unlikely place to find a vintage card. And you may be asking why it's graded a 1, because it looks fantastic. There is a pinhole here just above Earl's cap that you can make out. So that pinhole got this card a 1, because that's the maximum grade that you can attain if you have a pinhole. So beautiful looking card there. And again, Lagniappe for me, or Dan-iappe for me, but would not be considered Lagniappe on Dan's channel because he collects that set. Next up, here's another card that was included in the care package. This 94 Finest Refractor of Mike Morgan, who is Dan's uncle. And he has a lot of cool stories about him from growing up. So really happy to have this in the collection. And I mentioned in the last video that I had a bunch of others of common players that I'd never shown that I got for, just like $1 or less over the years on ComC. So Jeff Blauser, Eduardo Perez, probably the best one in this little grouping, Julio Franco. Loved this guy, played till his like late 40s in Major League Baseball. Greg Harris, Red Sox card there. Mariano Duncan, Luis Polonia, Xavier Hernandez, Tom Gordon, Greg Blosser, Tony Tarasco, and then we got this Danny Bautista. So no superstar names there. Julio Franco, really the only even minor star, but Just really love those cards and wanted to show what I had mentioned on the last video, that Mike Morgan is a perfect addition to my collection. All right, next up, as we continue on here through the episode, Dan, as I mentioned, hails from Louisiana these days. And so I started to think, who's a really good or popular Louisiana athlete that I can feature? And there was one obvious choice, and it's a football card. So check this out. Never shown this on the channel before, but this is my 1998 Topps Peyton Manning rookie card in a PSA 9. So obviously, professionally associated with the Indianapolis Colts, but was born in Louisiana and I believe lived there through his youth and even attended high school there. And I'm a big Peyton fan. I was a huge NFL fan during the era when we got spoiled by the Tom Brady and Peyton Manning kind of matchup, and loved seeing those guys do their thing. It seemed like almost every year, the path to the Super Bowl came through either Indianapolis or New England or both, and just a lot of memories of watching him and Tom Brady and those epic teams battle each other over those years. And so I've always respected Manning and wanted to get years back a proper Manning rookie card in the collection. This is not an expensive card, even graded. You can get this pretty cheap, and I think it's a solid buy if you're a fan of Peyton. So cool rookie card there of a Louisiana native. Next, we're going to touch on some poultry quick. So Dan sent this Rhode Island Reds card from the Players Cigarettes poultry release. And again, researched this after the video, and I determined that this came from 1931. So not quite 100 years old yet, but just an awesome Rhode Island-based card to join this Rhode Island-based military card and this Rhode Island-based Allen and Ginter flag card that Dan sent previously. But this was not the only card featuring fowl or poultry in the package. You'll probably remember, it's likely been in your nightmares the last couple of nights, this San Diego Chicken Smokey the Bear unwanted kiss card, which I Dan bestowed upon me and I showed off in the last video. And it got me thinking about my small collection of the San Diego Chicken. That's why Dan sent me this to begin with, because I mentioned I love San Diego Chicken cards. And I pulled out one other to show here today. This is a holo from Donruss Optic a few years back. So it's basically a refractor of the San Diego Chicken. How cool is that? Now, I do have other San Diego Chicken cards that I'm going to show off in the future, but for today, just going to break this one out. But there will be another episode coming on my little San Diego Chicken collection, of which this card sent by Dan featuring Smokey the Bear is now a centerpiece alongside this Optic holo. So more to come on that front. And then lastly, I have two new cards I've never shown on the channel that remind me of Dan. Now, first and foremost, if you've checked out any of Old Sarge videos, you know that Dan, his last name is Brooks. And as a result, he collects cards of players' names Brooks, either first or last name. And I have a great Brooks card that I got just this past summer with a little story to it. So check out the card. This is from 2005 Upper Deck Baseball Heroes. It's the Emerald on-card autograph of Brooks Robinson, commemorating the 1970 season where he led the Orioles to a championship. This is signed on card, no sticker, numbered to 99. I love these cards. I've shown them before. And a quick backstory on this one. I had a copy of this card for years, and I sent it off a year or two ago to my buddy Card Wolf here on YouTube because he'd sent me some great stuff. I knew he was an Orioles fan, and I had to get back, get even somehow. Knew he loved Brooks Robinson, so I went ahead and sent this off to him. I know it was appreciated. It definitely landed with him. He's since shown it in the background of videos numerous times, and it's in the right home. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to kind of get another copy of it back. So this past summer, this one surfaced, and I won this at auction for under $15, if you can believe that. And sadly, it was kind of an amazing timing scenario, but as this card was in the mail en route to me, Brooks passed away. So this card was had already been won, but was not yet in my hands when Brooks passed. And by the time I pulled it out of the mailbox and added it to my collection, he was no longer with us. So rest in peace to one of baseball's greats, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And really happy to have this Brooks autograph back in my collection for now the second time. So of the 99 copies out there, Card Wolf has one, and I have another here at Shoebox Legends. Then the final card for today, Dan, like me, is a Star Wars fan, and we've gone back and forth inspiring each other on some Star Wars cards, and he particularly likes Darth Vader, as do I. Well, today I have a Darth Vader card to show that I've never shown, and it's a buyback. So check this card out. Our finale for this Dan-iappe episode. This is the Lord Vader and a Soldier. So what this is a 77 Topps Star Wars card. It's either the second or third series. You can tell by the red border. But this was purchased by Topps, stamped with this 40th anniversary foil stamp, and then reissued, pack issued in packs of 2017 Topps 40th anniversary Star Wars set, which was a really fun set. If you know me, you know I love buybacks. I love Star Wars. I love Darth Vader. So this checks all those boxes. I do have a few other Star Wars buybacks from this program that I'll show at some point in the future. But for today, it's just going to be this one. I thought it was fitting to show another Darth Vader card here to kind of wrap it up. And yeah, that's going to complete my thoughts on the amazing care package from Dan. Just the follow-up that I wanted to do, as well as some Dan-iappe extras here on the channel today. So thanks for joining me. I'll be back later this week with some more content. Have some amazing cards coming in that I'm very, very excited to show off. But until then, I hope you all enjoy the hobby and take care. See ya.